noon hour is here.
Check it out.
And you're locked on to Utah's highest rated, most listened to sports radio station.
It's my station. It's my station.
This is Hans Olsen and Scotty G on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Matt Wells joins us.
Hey, welcome on in, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Hans Olsen, Scott Gerard, and good friend of the program, former head coach at Utah State, now co-offensive coordinator at Kansas State as the Wildcats rolling into Provo to take on BYU. Yes, indeed, Matt Wells joins us right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Coach, how the heck are you?
Hey, Coach.
Good. How are you guys doing?
Well, we're excited to have you, Coach.
We're better now. Get to hear your voice. How are things down in Manhattan?
Really good. You know, this has been a really good move for me professionally, for my family, for Jen and Wyatt moving here, and it's been a really good transition. It's just very thankful for an opportunity here at a program that is very, very solid. It's very stable. Chris Kleiman has done a phenomenal job here in 5+ years of just developing a culture and a winning culture of toughness and of discipline and a very, very consistent program year in and year out.
Well, Coach, you got a lot of people here in the state of Utah that absolutely love you. And they kind of followed you along where you went to Texas Tech and then on your journey. Kind of walk people through. You go Texas Tech, then you spent some time where and then ended up with Kansas State.
Yeah, 3 years there at Texas Tech, and then when that finished, unfortunately, you know, we had a decision to make, and there were some opportunities to go to some places and have to move. And Ella, our middle child, was in the middle of her sophomore year and kind of in a move to just stabilize her and allow her to finish high school and graduate and be, you know, just have a little bit more consistent lifestyle for her. I chose to not take those. Jen stayed with the kids, and I went to OU for 2 years and helped Coach Venables and Coach Levy, and just went back and forth for quite a while. Excuse me. I mean, it's about a 4.5-hour drive, and so kind of part-time back and forth. And so it was a good 2 years in terms of football, really good, and very tough family-wise. But it was, I think it was the right move and allowed her to graduate, and now she's in college. And then really good timing for me as with our family to take this job in January here at K-State with Coach Kleiman.
What's it been like to get back into the quarterback room and the game planning instead of just the managing of the team and talking to all of us media hacks and all that stuff? Just get back to just coaching. Has that been fun for you? Yeah,
it really has, guys. And, you know, kind of growing up in this profession, just like a lot of other coaches, you have dreams. And my dream was to call plays at Utah State. That was my dream, is to grow up and to be the OC and to call plays and coach QBs. And then all of a sudden, Gary got an opportunity at Wisconsin and I became the head coach. And it's like, okay, I need to tackle this and figure out how to be a head coach. And while that was fun and challenging, I feel like now being back in that chair, to your question, Scott, is I don't know. It's just, yeah, there's not as much media and compliance and academics and NIL and all of that. And the recruiting's obviously a lot simpler for me in terms of recruiting a quarterback. But game planning and coaching a tremendous quarterback and having a really good room has been awesome.
So, Coach, what do you do with your team to prepare them to come into Provo and to Lavelle Edwards Stadium with an 8:30 kick? How do you get them ready, and what kinds of things do you say to them?
Yeah, first of all, it's a stadium I've been in quite a bit and have a tremendous amount of respect for Kalani and that program, but also the fan base. I mean, this is one of the great atmospheres in all of college football, and I've told them that, and they know that, and I've told Coach Kleiman and our staff that, and, you know, Lavelle Edwards Stadium, an Aggie, by the way, at night, I know it'll be rocking. It'll be loud, and I've been in there before, and so know what a tremendous advantage that is for the Cougars. And so you got to prepare them for crowd noise and all the things that come with that. And I know what a great environment it is.
Last time you were there as a head coach, you got the win in 2018 with Jordan Love. Now you've got another great quarterback in Avery Johnson, who's off to a stellar start this year. What makes him so special as a quarterback?
Well, the first thing I can say, Scotty, is he's got some of the intangible components to him, his DNA, his game that are very similar to Jordan in that, number one, they're both competitive dudes. Avery loves to be coached. He wants to be coached. He's hungry. And I think as long as he continues to have that hunger and desire to be great and to be coached, I think he'll continue to improve. And he is by far from a finished product. We have so many things to work on, and there's just not enough time. And so he continues to get better. I'm proud of him. I think he's gotten a little bit better from week one till the last Friday night against Arizona, and hopefully he continues to keep getting better as the year progresses, and that's what we want, is continued growth for him.
So I was preparing for this game, and I was looking at your five up front, and you got 4 seniors up front, got some big dudes up front, and then you got 1 junior there at the center, but a lot of experience. Just talk about that offensive line and what you're doing offensively, how much of it is resting on them right now.
Yeah, Hans, when you look at our O-line, we may be old and we have some experience, but not a ton of starting experience. I mean, we lost 3 guys to the NFL off the line from a year ago when I was not here. And those guys were all role players, and they played a role, and now they're in the full-time starting role. And so they do have experience. But, man, they've gelled well together. I think Connor Riley, our OC and our O-line coaches, is one of the best O-line coaches in college football. He has them ready to play mentally, emotionally, and we put a lot on their plate, and they do a really nice job up front.
Circling back a little bit to Avery Johnson, he's got nearly 200 yards on the ground, averaging 6.7 yards a carry. From a play-calling standpoint, is it like a kid in a candy store when you've got a dual threat that has that kind of explosive nature in his ability to throw and run?
Yeah, he can really pull it and run. Different from some of the other athletic quarterbacks that I've had, he has the ability to hit a home run, like straight line speed, because of how fast he is. But, yeah, certainly, I think it presents problems because you can move him, you change the launch points for a quarterback and putting him on the move. But also just the plays that happen real naturally when things get covered and he pulls it to run. He does a really nice job of keeping his eyes up in scramble mode to be able to throw. And, it's move to throw in the pocket, not move to run or move to escape. And so I think, he's doing a nice job with that because certainly when he does pull it, he poses a big threat.
Another guy that caught my eye, Coach, I wanted to talk to you about. I know DJ Giddens is kind of the low-hanging fruit, but I want to talk about Dylan Edwards because I saw him on that return. I know that, you get into red zone, and he's a deadly rushing threat. He's also a receiving threat. I just feel like number 3 pops out to me as much as anybody. Talk a little bit about Dylan Edwards and what kind of usage you throw him into this BYU game.
Yeah, both of those guys, Hans, present 2 different kinds. They're kind of thunder and lightning. And, DJ is a workhorse, a 1,500-yard rusher last year, and he's on pace to get that. I think this year he'll be a 1,000-yard rusher real easily. But, Dylan has, number one, he has home run speed. You saw it on that punt return that you referenced, but he's able to catch the ball. He's able to run between the tackles. He's small. He's quick. And so I think, he has a lot of intangibles within his skill set that make it fun to game plan.
Well, speaking of Giddens, though, and this one thing that I've learned about the Big 12 and being around Hans and his deep dive into this conference last year and this year, now that Utah's in there as well, is the realization that this conference is just absolutely loaded with running backs, and DJ Giddens is certainly near the top of that list. He, as you mentioned, well on pace for well over 1,000 yards. But again, Talk about his strong suit, because it seems like he's a guy that can get you, 15, 20, but also get you the big one on goal line and 3rd and 1.
Yeah. And to your point there of what you were talking about with hands, I mean, you're going to see it. Each and every week there's a real running back in the Big 12. Each and every Saturday there is. And DJ, I don't think he takes a back seat to anybody. I think, what he does well is going to serve him well in the future because he'll play on Sundays. He can pass pro. He's really smart. He's got good hands out of the backfield. He's an every down back in college, which I think gives him a chance to play in the NFL because he can pass pro and catch the ball. But he's a guy that, doesn't have a ton of wear and tear on him just because Deuce Vaughn before took a lot of that load. They shared that load. And so he's an older back with not a ton of career carries.
I'll tell you, Coach, it's kind of daunting watching film on this team and putting together any types of ideas with this team, because not only do you guys produce on the run offensively, but you stop the run up. The gaps are clogged, and there's just not a lot of breathing room. Is that just from having to go against your offense through camp and through practice that they get bruised up and they're like, yeah, we're not going to let these gaps open? Well, how is this team so good at stopping the run as well?
I think this is the program that Coach Kleiman's put together. It's stop the run, it's run the ball. Those typically prove to be, long-standing principles to winning football in the month of November and in a long season, being able to run the ball and to stop the run. And I don't think we're playing our best ball yet. I think we have so much room to improve. And I hope that we continue to improve. We have a huge test, Saturday night with BYU. I mean, they're always big in the O-line, D-line, have since I played and certainly coached at Utah State and other places against BYU. They're always big and strong and physical, and that's Kalani's brand of football, and it served them well, very, very well. And so, you look at BYU's O-line and their D-line. I haven't looked much at their O-line, but I know TJ will have those guys ready to play. But their D-line and their linebackers are so active, and certainly Tyler's one of the better players in this league.
When you take a job at Kansas State, and look, you grew up in Oklahoma, and you grew up in Big 12 country, and back when we were kids, becoming just enjoying the game of football, Kansas State was not that good, and then all of a sudden, they strike fire with a legendary coach in Bill Snyder, and now they just become an institution, almost a blue blood of a college football program. What's the culture like at Kansas State that really sets it apart as a program that year in and year out is always a team that has to be reckoned with?
I think it does go back to Coach Snyder, and I think Coach Kleiman does it in his own way, and he's his own man, very much so. But I think you just talk about discipline and tough and blue collar and a lot of the words that we like to use and that we hope our programs. I always hope my program at Utah State was that way. But I think those things and the accountability, the toughness of the players in the Midwest and some of the areas that we get these players, but we certainly have good skill and are getting better at that. But I think those are qualities that when you talk about a program that since, the mid-'90s when Coach Snyder really got it going to now in the mid-20, whatever this, what the crap you call this decade? 2020?
The 20s, I guess, yeah.
Yeah, I'm an idiot. Look at it. For 30 years, it's been very consistent. And they've always run the ball, and they've always stopped the run, and they're tough. And so it's a lot of the same intangibles that a lot of the programs where you say they're very, very consistent. They win. They go to a ton of bowl games, and when the things line up and they stay relatively healthy and maybe the ball bounces their way or two, they're in the championship hunt, and they're winning a Big 12 championship. And I know the history of this place at Kansas State, and you're just very, very thankful. I'm just thankful to be a small part of it this year.
Tell us a little bit about Manhattan, because I called a game in Lawrence, but I don't have a lot of reference points for Manhattan. And is it like a Logan, like a total college town, or is it?
Man, that's so funny you say that, because when we flew in here in January and the kids, all three of them came, I mean, we literally said that. And my girls said that. They're like, Dad, this is so much like Logan without the mountains. You know, it is a college town. It's an ag school and a state school. And, you know, I think Manhattan's a little over 50,000. Certainly Logan is about that. And then you add the whole valley, obviously, up there in Cache Valley, and it's 100,000. But yeah, it has the same type of feel. And, you know, we're 2 hours from Kansas City. It's an hour from where you just referenced to the Jayhawks and the east of here. But, you know, Salt Lake's an hour and a half from Logan. And so I think there's some similarities in that. And so we feel that way about Manhattan. It's a great place to live and great people, and they're passionate about K-State Wildcats. And, I mean, I don't know, I think there's 16 or 17 straight sellouts in this stadium. You know, 54,000 people every Saturday. And it's a great venue. It's a great atmosphere. It's a great town.
Matt Wells hanging out with us, the co-offensive coordinator of Kansas State, as they get set to come to Provo and take on BYU. So when you look at BYU defensively, you kind of touched on it briefly, but what really jumps out at you when you see this team on film? Because, again, first 3 games of the year, and I know you used to always tell me it was, you know, week 5, week 6 before you felt like you really got a good feel for who your team is. But You've seen this team for 3 games. They do look like they've improved defensively over last year, but what jumps out on film when you see them?
Well, I think they're a reflection of their leadership. You know, Kalani and Jay, who I got a great friendship with, both of them, and respect for, but they're tough. They're physical. They tackle really well. They're very multiple in the back end. They give you a ton of different looks, and so there's a lot of smart players. There's smart coaches there. I think, you know, and again, I think the physicality stands out. Batty he's a beast. He's one of the best in the Big 12. He'll have a great year. And so I think those are the things that you see that jumps off tape.
So when you get into game week with guys that you have a good friendship with and a lot of relationship with, do you text back and forth? Do you call? Like, how does that friendship, how does that relationship get managed when you're about to butt heads?
No, you know, actually I texted Kalani. We texted back and forth about a week ago, and I have several times with Jay since, you know, his incident with his health, and I'm so glad that he's back. And so really I was just texting with Jay about his health and checking in on him, but have not this week, and I'm sure I'll see those guys on the Y in pregame. So
you take the boy out of Utah State. You can't take the Utah State out of the boy, man. This game means different.
I'm an Aggie through and through. You know, what's funny is this summer, a couple times on vacation, people would ask when we'd meet somebody or run into somebody, where are you guys from? And here we are. I don't know. You know, my kids, just Wyatt and Ella, the younger ones, have only been in a few college towns. Jaden's been in 6 of them, and all 3 of them to a T. If you ask them where they're from, they'll all say Logan, Utah. So that's us. That's our family. Those, you know, you spend 13 years there, man. That's 5 as a player and then 8 as a coach. That's home for me. Love Logan. Love Utah State. Those people are the best. That school means a lot to me. So no, man, you ain't taking the Aggie out of this dude.
I want to know how many players you had to hit up to get the amount of tickets you need to get the family out of Logan and get them in that stadium, because I've got to imagine you've got a flood of people that are going to be there for you.
And they'll all be wearing purple. They may have some Utah State gear underneath, but I have purple. Yeah, we've got a lot of people, and Jen's coming. Wyatt and Ella are coming. Jaden's mad that Texas Tech has a home game, so she can't make it, unfortunately. But, yeah, we'll have a lot of people there.
Well, Coach, we appreciate it as always. Safe travels out here. Tell the family hi for all of us, and we can't wait to see you.
Good luck, Coach.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate you guys.
You got it. There he is, Matt Wells, offensive coordinator, Kansas State, former Utah State head coach, former Utah State quarterback, and one of the best dudes on the planet.